Good morning from One Love Yoga in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. We're going to have a slow power flow this morning. And while I wait for the heaters to warm up the studio, grab yourself a couple of blocks if you have them. If not, it's not that big of a deal. If you have a strap or a belt, grab that as well. Or you can use like these little bendy, stretchy things just to have something to hold on when we open up the shoulders a little bit later in the class. So let's get started. So let's start on our backs. Most of the time I always start with child's pose, but we'll do a little bit different this morning. And I always find that my whatever clip or ponytail I have always gets in my way whenever I'm in a reclined pose. And just get a sense of where you are in this moment. So for me, it's Monday, so I'm a little cloudy. And maybe place your hands on your belly and just notice your breath. See if you can, with the inhale, expand your belly. And then just allow it to soften on the exhale. So we deep breathe through the nose. As we kick into the more relaxed state. So I know for me, it takes me a while to transition from a more active, frenetic state. So just a few moments of breathing. And so from here, let's activate the core a little bit. And so your knees should essentially be bent. And you can maybe reach for the small of your lower back. See if you can press the lower back into the mat. You can feel the core engage here. So that is going to be held as we just gently lift the right leg towards your center. Not too far, just enough to just notice how your body moves and shifts, and see if you can stabilize the core as you move the legs back and forth. And sometimes it may mean you pressing in with the opposite foot into the mat. So this is a slow movement because we want to really think about the mind and the muscle connecting. As you can see, I also have my hands on my belly to just feel those differences. It's the little muscles that are so integral for the stability of the spine that weaken with time, but also weaken when we become less aware. And so I encourage you, if you find yourself with some lower back problems, just remember pressing the lower back into the mat. This is just a good way to work your core, but not do anything really overly frenetic. And it might actually be a nice way for you to begin your day with a little bit of movement. and subtle engagement as we become more aware of the stabilizing muscles of the body. And then just release the lower back and just kind of notice, when you move the knees back and forth, just kind of what happened here. And then we just kind of roll over onto one side and find yourself into all fours. And this is where I grab my clip. I actually washed my hair this morning, which is a pretty big deal. All right, so we do typically cat-cow. So let's just try to engage, just notice the movement in the spine when we inhale and draw the belly to the ground, but maybe see if we can kick up the butt a little bit and press open the chest. And then press away so the spine just arches the opposite direction. And inhale, press. Open the shoulders a little bit, expand the chest, and then press away. And so for me, the spine gets really, really cranky, especially as it's a little cooler. Press in with your hands to start engaging the forearm muscles. And anytime you're in a yoga class, just always be aware of what your hands are doing. Lots of times we dump all of our weight into our wrists, but instead we practice putting the weight into the knuckles and spreading the hands. Continuing our cat-cow. See if we can maybe exaggerate it a little bit. And if you do have shoulder problems, I encourage you to move the hand a little bit further away, or maybe moving the hands, tilting the hands just a little bit on a little, maybe 11-1 with your index fingers. But that might not be necessary for you today. So let's do some shoulder flossing. And so this is similar to cat-cow, but we're gonna, not pay attention to the lower back. So with shoulder flossing, you dip your chest forward and feel the shoulder blades pull together, and then press away and feel the shoulder blades pull apart. And so I had one yoga instructor call this shoulder flossing, and I actually did many reps of this shoulder flossing when I was trying to rehab my shoulder. And there's lots of different moves you can do in yoga to rehab or just continue the rehab of your shoulder. And we won't do that today, but we will at least be mindful of shoulder, because I have a gentleman who has shoulder issues, and I am particularly aware of how that can really impinge during a yoga practice. Okay, so typically in a yoga class you have a thread the needle, and thread the needle is typically you come up like this, and that too can impinge the shoulder. We're going to do the opposite. Okay, so inhale, raise the shoulder up high, raise a hand up high, and rather than swinging it around, extend it away from you. So this might be good for you, and just notice the opening in the pec muscles, the front of your shoulder, and you can just kind of dip your forehead down. And this might feel good for you, or you can maybe move your head away to get a deeper stretch. And keep breathing deeply. And I also noticed that my biceps would also get tight, and that really pulls the shoulder into tighter positions and really affecting your mobility. So this is really good to stretch all of those pieces. And then draw the hand back into all fours. And so now let's work the left shoulder. So just raise and see, notice that I can't fully twist, and I can twist my torso, but my arm doesn't allow me, because this is the shoulder that I hurt. So again, rather than folding inward, we open outwards. So just find the perfect spot for your arm. And sometimes it also feels good if you have goalpost arms, but just feeling the opening and dropping the shoulder best as possible to the mat. And then with every breath, you might feel a little bit more of a stretch. And then the exhale, just a release. I usually will do this in a yin class, but this is usually, if I practice this at home, that's when my one dog buries his face in mine and I can't breathe. So it's just nice to practice this dog free for a change. And then just slowly press yourself up and just feel just the opening here in your shoulders. It might feel really, really good. All right. So now let's just kind of do a knee down side plank. So, and of course, if it feels really, really good for you, then you can do the full side plank. So just anchor your, let's do on the right side, since we stretched it before we stretched the left. So anchor your hand down and then flip your right shin over to the side. It kind of serves as a kickstand. And then swing your left leg around and you come into a side plank. And just notice that now the hip of the left leg gets a beautiful opening stretch. And so side plank is typically taught with the arm overhead. And that might feel good for you. But what works for me, and see if this feels good for you, is maybe opening the chest a little bit more. I probably should have done the right side first, but. And just notice the left hip opening, the left chest opening, and just breathe through this. And then slowly bring yourself back into all fours as we prepare for the other side. So I like to anchor my hand first and then set up the kickstand and then drop the right foot straight and planting the outer blade of the right foot. Kind of squeezing the entire leg into the mat, but also not forgetting the opening in the right hip. So again, you can practice the traditional side plank with the arm overhead. And that might feel good, so there's certain muscles of the hip that get a nice stretch in this regard. Or you can open up to get more of a chest release, a shoulder opener. Deep breaths. And then let's bring the right arm back down and come back to all fours and just kind of shake it out. So now let's tuck the toes and just feel that nice little, hey toes, what's going on? The toes get a nice little stretch here for a moment. And then really anchor the hands, press into the hands, and just feel the shoulder blades spread like we were doing in that flossing. And then maybe pick up, so ground through your core, find that core that we practiced at the beginning of the class, and then maybe lift up your knees an inch just for a moment, just to test ourselves, test our stability here. And always remember just finding that core stability that we really made ourselves aware of the beginning of the class. And then just lift the hips and extend the legs straight into your first downward dog. And this might feel a little achy. This is your first downward dog of the day. I'm not a big vinyasa person. I would much rather stay longer in the poses than to basically do yoga aerobics. That was fine for one time in my life, but not right now. Because I really, really need, and especially my calves. I didn't realize my calves were tight until I started to dig in with a myofascial release ball and dig in just with my fingers. And the automatic sense of relaxation that occurred was really, really very telling. All right, so let's do some low lunges. So inhale, extend the leg back behind you and maybe bend the knee a little bit. And then draw the knee towards you as you drop the right foot and bend the back knee. And this is where we want to grab for your blocks if you have them. If not, not a big deal. The blocks just allow you not to have to crunch into the shoulders. So from here, I like to just kind of feel what the hips are doing. Untuck the back toes. You can set up the blocks on the penthouse side and just hang out here for a moment. And just notice that. So there's different ways that we can do this posture. I sometimes will teach it a little bit differently. But sometimes it just feels really, really good to just melt into a knee down low lunge to allow the back hip to get this beautiful release. And also, if your knee is over the toes, so as you can see, my knee is way beyond the toes, that's actually fine, especially if you're not putting all of your weight on the front leg. You will see how sometimes my left knee will bark at me, but just kind of feel what it's like to stretch the back hip, and then you also get a nice stretch in the front calf. You can press in with the blocks to get a little bit more core strength. So you can even imagine pressing the back knee up a little bit to get a little bit of engagement. Or you can just drop and release. So sometimes I like to pulse those back and forth, but we're just going to hang out a little bit. I suppose I could have done some vinyasa style where we go in and out, but I'm kind of liking the long holds for me this morning. Now press in with your hands to help you extend the front leg straight. And if your back knee is kind of tender, it's always a good idea to maybe you can fold your yoga mat over a little bit. I usually have a towel or something like that nearby. Now let's just see how much we can extend the front leg. And we can use the blocks to kind of help settle us. We can extend the blocks far or close. And then the back hip is going to be just kind of above the back knee. And just maybe just inch your front toes a little bit forward. And so the front foot can be pointed or it could be flexed. Now, if it's flexed, play around with just moving the foot a little bit back and forth and just kind of moving the entire hip. So rotating the hip. And just notice what might be tight in these little movements. So if you're a runner, you might not even notice how your ankle might not be as mobile on one side versus the other. Just cocking the hip back and forth. And there's still a little slight bend in the front knee. Okay, so let's use the blocks to help come up a little bit, bend into the front knee so that we can bring it back. And then if you want to, you can do a vinyasa, or we can just meet in down dog. And pedal out the feet and just notice if the legs feel different on one side. I didn't go really deep into the stretch. Maybe you did. I just need some movement, some blood to go through my system, especially when it's early. So as I inhale, let's extend the left leg back. Just maybe get a little movement there. And then draw the knee into the chest as we drop the left foot towards the left hand. Untuck the back toes and find your blocks if you have them. So again, if you don't have blocks, it's fine just to kind of feel your way into this low lunge. And again, if you have knee issues that's feeling you're crunching the back knee, you can just fold your yoga mat over a little bit. And So I like to stack my blocks a little bit and just bend deep. So although you might get a little bit of a calf stretch if you inch your knee a little bit forward, so you can see, this knee has had significant issues over the years, and this doesn't bother me because, again, my back knee isn't up. I don't have a whole lot of weight on the front knee, so this just allows me to just work on the full range of flexion and extension. And so you should feel a little bit of a hip stretch on the right side. If you don't feel it, press in with the shin of your right leg. I feel a little bit more. Good grief, I'm already 25 minutes in. I have to teach this class in a little bit, and I always over-program my classes, which is better than under-programming. I've done that in the past, where I'm like, oh, I don't have anything else to teach. And now just press in with your hands as we just gently experiment with what it feels like to extend this leg. And so this is why the blocks are really, really helpful, especially if you just lack mobility in the legs, and just heel toe the front leg almost straight. And again, so you can keep the front foot pointed, or you can flex it and just kind of. The reason why I like to have it flexed is because I do like to experiment with moving the foot back and forth, and you just feel all the little muscles in the calves as you do this. And continue to pull the left hip back. The more you pull this left hip back and extend through the foot, you'll get a little bit more of a hamstring stretch. Okay, so let's get moving a little bit more. So just draw the knee back to meet the other. Set your blocks to the side. We probably won't need those for the rest of the class. And then you can do a vinyasa, or you can just come into downward dog and just shake it out. So now that we've stretched our shoulders, we've stretched our hips a little bit, let's do a little bit of sun salutations. And so just you can walk or hop or jump through to a forward fold. And so your feet can be close together or hip distance apart, whatever is good for you as you come into a chair pose, and just feel what it's like to come into this beautiful squat here. And you can press your core, your torso away, but try to keep low in the knees, low into the bend. You can raise your arms up overhead. And then fall forward into a forward fold. Inhale, just a halfway lift. press the hips away from your torso. And exhale, step back into plank, lower into cobra, or lower all the way down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, tuck the toes, press up, press back into downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg reaches up. Exhale, step forward. Stay in your lunge position. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, open up into a warrior two. Settle in here. Step back into plank. Lower down onto the floor or come into a chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Open the chest. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg reaches back. Exhale, step forward into lunge. Inhale, sweep up overhead. Exhale, open up into warrior two. We're gonna do a little bit more of a leg strengthener in a moment. Just warm the body a little bit more. Let's come back into our plank, step back. You can hold here, lower all the way down, lower into chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog, open the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Press into the knuckles. Get those calves stretched. Sweep the hips. Press into the hands. Stretch the spine. Now step up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees deep. Sweep the arms. Exhale, stand up straight. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Bend into your chair. Find the strength here. Find your core here, remember. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into plank, lower. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, step back, downward dog. Inhale, left leg reaches up. Exhale, step back, step forward into, We'll do this side first. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, open up into warrior two. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, a little bit of a change. Just heel toe the feet a little bit forward, closer together, and then place your toes away from one another and come into a squat. Let's hold here for a mo. So here's where your knees don't want to be a little bit far beyond your toes. Sorry, I totally zoned out there for a moment. See if you can drop the hips a little bit more. Inhale, sweep the arms back up. Exhale, come back into your warrior two. Maybe heel toe the feet away. Inhale, step back into plank, chaturanga. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, step back, down dog. So now let's do the right side. Inhale, right leg reaches. Exhale, draw the right foot forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, reach. And exhale, open up into warrior two. Inhale, straighten both legs. And just heel toe the feet a little bit closer. Feet are angled out, lower into goddess. And just hold here for another moment. Remember your core here. Strong legs. Just notice the solid hips, solid knees, solid feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, open up into warrior two. Inhale, come into plank. Lower into chaturanga if you choose. Exhale, come down, then open up. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. I typically teach this so much slower, so that's why I'm usually not always cueing breath as much as I should, because sometimes I cue it and it's like I hope that no one else breathes faster than what I typically breathe. Inhale, just press the hips back, and exhale, release. Inhale, step, jump, hop, whatever you want into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, press the hips away. Exhale, drop into your squat. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, samastiti. Let's do one more round. We'll add another little variation. Inhale, sweep the arms, drop into your squat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, press the hips away from your torso. Exhale, step back, lower into your chaturanga, work all the way down. Inhale, cobra, halfway, all the way up into upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep the right leg back. Exhale, draw it forward, step into a high lunge. Inhale. Exhale, open up into warrior two. Inhale, straighten both legs, square the feet. Exhale, heel toe, and drop into goddess. Let's hold here. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Square the feet again. Exhale, forward fold. Take a breath. And let's move the hands towards the back foot and just kind of clasp the back ankle with your right hand and just kind of pull
the calf in towards your body, in towards the center with your left hand. And so you might feel a little bit of a stretch in the back shoulder of your right side. And then walk the hands back to center. So you can roll up or inhale halfway. Engage your core. And inhale, exhale, inhale, inhale, exhale. Let's drop into our warrior two. And then vinyasa. Drop into downward dog. Let's keep going. One more. Inhale, extend the left leg back. Exhale, drop the foot towards the left hand. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, reach. Exhale, open up into warrior two. Inhale, straighten both legs, feet point towards the side of your mat. And then exhale, just heel toe just a little bit and drop. Try to press the hips forward, at least the butt forward, tucking the tailbone. Drop deeper. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, straighten the legs. Oops, we forgot to do that. Yeah, that's right. Straighten the legs, point the feet forward. Exhale, come into a wide leg forward fold. Just feel just your body just drop. Your torso drop. Grounded by your solid legs. Now walk the hands towards the back foot. And so the left hand grounds on the outside of your ankle and pull. And then the right hand presses in at the calf. This is a little baby twist. And let's bring the hands back into center. So you can just slowly roll up into standing. And place your hands on your hips. Inhale. Find a flat back. Find your core. Exhale. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, come into your warrior two. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, come into all the way down onto the mat or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. So I had some standing poses in mind, but I only have an hour. Well, that's okay. The most important part is we just got a little juicy in the joints, and that was all that's necessary. And so let's drop onto our knees. You can come into child's pose. Take a break. And slowly come up. And just come into seated. And this is where we can use our strap. If we want to. We don't really need to. You mainly have the strap for another pose. So let's extend the right leg in front of you and the left knee just kind of crosses. And this might be just enough for you in the seated twist. Or you can bend the right foot. And sometimes it helps if you sit on a block, it might make it a little bit more accessible to you. And if you would like to, sometimes I like to use a strap to help pull my left arm a little open. Okay, so let's plant the right hand next to you and you can pull and open up. You know, otherwise you can also just kind of grab around. So it's a little bit more of a shoulder opener here. And then we'll go into a regular twist. So open the shoulders. And then release the strap. Inhale the right arm overhead and then cradle the opposite knee. And then the left hand just reaches back behind you. So this gets more into the hips. Breathe. Just feel the hips releasing with every pull, every time you kind of tug with your right arm. Just a little millimeter at a time. And then release the legs. And you can just kind of reach back and just kind of windshield wipe your knees back and forth. Pop. And extend the left leg in front of you. And so this might be your version of the twist. And the right leg crosses around. And I always like to pull. So again, you don't need to do it this way, but we're going to just do a little bit of a shoulder opener here. And a little side body stretch. So this left hand just kind of grounds as you get a little bit of a twist. And expand the right chest. See if you can breathe into the right collarbones. Feels good on the neck if you just kind of reach your neck back away from your right shoulder. And then slowly release. Just maybe have your feet a little differently, but
And then we have the standard version of this seated twist. So inhale, the right arm reaches back just behind you. Inhale or exhale, and inhale, open the left arm around. I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time, so it's just hard for me to do it while I'm teaching. And just feel the back of your left shoulder getting a nice little pulling, tugging, a little strengthening here, as you're also feeling the right hip getting a little bit of relaxation, release. And seated twists are always a really good idea for you to do while you're watching television, rather than just sitting on the floor or sitting on the couch. You can just come and do a seated twist to help open yourself up, invite a little bit more relaxation in your body. And let's just unwind. So now let's open our legs out a comfortable distance apart. And this is where you can maybe use a block, but you don't really have to. And just, again, just notice there's some stickiness on the inner thigh here. I notice this is always just very tight for me. So that's why you don't need to be doing this too extreme. And then just slowly just fall your hands forward a little bit. It doesn't need to be a whole lot. What I like to do is I like to tuck my fingers underneath my calves. And that way I kind of have this safety net. And just do this nice little forward fold here. And I like to do this in a yin class, because then we hold it for a really long time. But we don't have a whole lot of time. But if you do stay in this for a long time, then you might notice just your belly just eventually finding its way a little bit closer to the floor, as all the muscles in your back stop trying to contract into this stretch. And then just slowly just walk your hands back up. Let's come on to the back. I'm going to do it facing this direction. So this is where you can use a block, again, if you want to do a more restorative version of it. I'm going to take my little clippy out. Just kind of roll onto the back. And remember how we had tucked our lower back into the mat when we started? I'm going to inch myself a little bit more. Walking my feet a little bit more forward. Tuck into the mat first, and then raise your hips just an inch off the mat.
So this is engaging those deeper muscles of your core. So you don't need to jam your hips up like you're doing hip thrusters, but just notice how the core, the deeper muscles of your core need to really engage first before you thrust your hips up. And then maybe you can experiment with raising your hips a little bit higher. So again, you can place your block underneath, or you could just kind of use your hands to pull, to press your hips a little higher. And you'll feel your buttocks engage, and that's a good thing. And what's also nice is you're getting that front hip stretch. So if you could open the chest. And then just slowly, starting with the top towards your thoracic spine, just one vertebrae at a time, lower. And feeling your lumbar spine reach, and then release, relax. And let's just kind of windshield wipe your legs back and forth. It's always good to have, after our huge back bends, to have a little bit of a twisting transition before you go into forward bends, especially if there's extreme versions of them. And just let's kind of just drop the knees over to the right just for a second or so, just because it feels good. And just know that you can always pause this if this feels really, really good, and hold it for a little bit longer. And then drop your legs over to the right. And I'm just noticing that this left hip is just a little bit stickier than the right. Yoga is just definitely a practice of, it's a study of the body and the mind. Especially when you slow it down. All right, let's draw the knees back in and draw them into the body. Just get a little squeeze here for a moment. And just do some sacral massage. And now let's do a little happy baby. So grab the outer blade of each foot with the hand on the appropriate side and pull. And lots of times, if we aren't very mobile, we will be lifting the butt a little bit more off the ground. See if you can plant your tailbone down. So even if it means that your knees are here, that's better than cranking your lower back. So you can just grab the thighs if that's the case. And pull the thighs to your ribs. So you might not be reaching the feet today. No, that's fine. The stomach is grumbling. And then just let the feet go. Just one more sacral massage. And then just slowly extend the feet into just your corpse pose. And if your lower back is feeling tender, then grab a pillow, like these pillows back here, and place them under your knees, your calves. That kind of takes the stress out. And so Shavasana is usually some people's favorite pose, some people's least favorite pose. I really don't care one way or another. I actually have different versions of Shavasana that I practice at home. But it's always a good idea to just take a few moments to just let your body acknowledge the places that you've stretched and strengthened. And sometimes after you do that, it's just a good idea to just let your body surrender into your yoga space. And so sometimes it starts with just acknowledging, okay, are my calves still holding on? Are they gripping in some regard? Moving to the thighs, or your thighs gripping. Just invite them to just let go. And then just notice if one hip might be holding on to something too tightly, and let's let that go. The torso, the chest, the back, just let it be held by the floor. Like you're being cradled. And then the shoulders, the arms, just notice if just the shoulders are creeping up, and just notice if they're pulling in any sort of way, and just relax them. Just allow your neck and your head just to kind of feel heavy, yet supported. And then when you're ready,
And just invite some subtle movements in your body. Sometimes it helps to wiggle your fingers and your toes, or just maybe just shake your head back and forth. And then slowly roll onto one side, your left side or your right side. And just have that little fetal position for a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, a couple of breaths. And then slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seat and acknowledge what your body has done today, and notice that it has maybe made 1 millimeter of change, hopefully in the right direction, or a beneficial direction. And place your hands together, palms touching, thumbs to your heart, and just honor yourself in this space, and honor maybe those who may have practiced with you today, yesterday, next year. And show a little kindness for yourself and for those you may meet today, next week, next year. So take care of yourself.